of a sporadic cloud and thunder in the landscapes of Bangkok and Melbourne, illuminating the rude awakening of real life. Rookie soldiers of the 21s to 34s, responsibility and family life dawns, while wine and drunkenness captures their eye, joyriding and jaywalking with no care, sun and moon and nature's touch in the season of orange in Central Park, as poets and actors preach in the streets, as feminists protest like civil rights activists, marching from Selma to Montgomery under the threat of dogs' teeth and tear gas and police chants and horses and riot shields and batons, and the legacy of Jim Crow, and the millennials would yawp and whisper war stories about when they've been arrested and on which march. The shocks of A&E, jail and combat, whole minds deteriorating in a 7-day layover with prison food, like vomit from concentrate. Those who disappeared into the cracks of Birmingham, Broad Street and New Street, leaving a trail of blood to the Repertory Theatre. Watching poverty run riot by the riverside restaurants as the homeless wander, asking for change so they can live another day. The millennials who jump in taxis to go 2 minutes down the road, those who lay hungry and broke in cafes, talking about literature, and those conversations disappeared into the tattooed trees on the table and into the local narratives and told tales of Northampton, Bedford, and Cambridge, and further still into the West Country of Devon, Dorset, and Somerset, places that investigate newcomers and make you forget city life and its liquid lunches. Inflicting scorch marks on the anti-climatic nature of capitalism in the West, places where police create more black stars than Hollywood, millennials who broke down in jail cells and wailed like sirens when they just happened to be wearing a hoodie in a white neighborhood, who were raped by those who preyed on low self-esteem, taken advantage of like the slaves who worked the plantations in America and the West Indies. But the millennials went on partying through Manchester and Liverpool, a juxtaposition to the legacy of slavery. Myriads of slaves at auctions who stood all day with bloody feet. My generation who watched Black Mirror and Westworld as Theresa May perfects the art of crashing the NHS. The young people who read romance novels in Costa whilst plugged into bad music, who sit depressed under their own storm cloud, who had suicidal thoughts in school and were told to get over it, like depression and anxiety when they drift into burning your hand on the grill. The generation that murmur all night, scribbling incantations on how to be happy in blank verse, who watched the perks of being a wallflower like it was the story of their lives, who cut their wrists at breakfast, lunch and dinner and were forced to open nostalgia shops when they failed, who hang themselves in their bedrooms and were forgotten, the people who sang in Warsaw and retired to their beds forever to tend to their war wounds like it was the 1st of October 1939 all over again, who were given daggers for their ums and spears for their likes and electroshock therapy to cure their anxiety of the tomorrow. Camden Town and Oxford arguing on how to talk and how to live, tongues wagging from midnight to midday, and those who dreamt up stories on the bus in long sentences, trapping the metaphors and similes with semicolons and subordinate clauses, who booby-trapped the verbs and nouns with dashes and commas in long sentences like Oscar Wilde. Comparing the syntax of Camden and Oxford and highbrow culture, and in the spirit of jazz in New Orleans, saxophones cry across the water with the tears of 1,000 years of blissful adolescence, and good to grow 1,000 years more. What foul creature carved out their souls and imagination? Society, isolation, independent loneliness and inflation. Young people screaming in their homes, children in the vice of Hollywood. Poverty sleeping in the parks. Society, the nightmare of society, loveless in its mutilated Marxism, the brutal judger of broken people. Society, the unimaginable jail. Society, the black dog walking through the graveyard. Society with its logos of judgment and stunned governments, whose minds are machinery, whose blood is money, whose fingers are on the nuclear codes, whose torso is a bonfire to the youth, whose souls are stocks and shares. Society where people sit alone, scared of their own faces. society with its containment culture and cookie-cutter flats and invisible poverty lines. Visions, symbols and miracles down the Thames. Dreams and aspirations gone with a whole truckload of toxic political correctness and fragile masculinity. A storm, epiphanies, politics and religion's gone as the boat flips. Despair, years of suicides and the crazy crucifixions into a haze of holy yells. Yeah.
Yeah.